when you transition from your body, you don't miss a beat. You will not feel dead. You will not feel as though something is ended. You will have full awareness of where you have been and where you are going, and you will make a complete change or switch into the direction that you are choosing to go, and have no fear, no angst, no worry at all. There's actually no separation, can you believe it, between the universal aspect that you deem as separate and the earth.
I'd like to welcome back to the show returning champion, Robin Jelinek. How you doing, Robin?
Great, Alex. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming back on the show. I'm looking forward to talking to you and also speaking to the Athena group about a few things we're going to talk about. But in recent days, as of this recording, there was this little thing called the eclipse that happened. And I had a few people on the show talking about what was going to happen, what was happening. And it wasn't doom and gloom. I mean, it's like the planet wasn't going to end or anything like that. But you have noticed, and I'm assuming the Athena group also has noticed, a few things that have happened in the aftermath of the eclipse, what's happening to us in general. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what's going on.
So what I noticed recently, I didn't notice right away when it started happening, is that there was an increase in feelings of negativity or things that I've dealt with in the past that I thought had been resolved started to come up. Struggled a little bit with the confidence thing again, had some anxiety, just a number of things that I had felt in my past that I felt like I, quote unquote, had done the work on. And I at first started to try to blame them on a few things. As I was talking to you earlier, I went to Newark and did a documentary with this Peter Alessandro, I think his name is. And that brought up the anxiety and a little bit of lack of confidence. And so I thought that I had something to blame it on. And then it continued on even after I finished that interview and went home. I was still feeling a little bit uncomfortable. As I ponder things, one of the things that happens as a channel is your thinking about things brings an answer or a delivery from the universe about what it is that you're wanting to know the answer to. And so I started to think about, why am I feeling this way? Why am I having some anxiety and some lack of confidence and a little bit of irritation and things that I don't always normally experience. And what came to me in that moment was that when we had this solar eclipse, when that planet passes in front of I think it's passing in front of the sun, if I'm saying it right. If I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. But when that actually happens, it creates a magnetism. And actually that magnetism is really similar to what happens in a Kundalini rising, because when a human releases their Kundalini, it creates a great magnetism within them. It's actually what can attract channeling to you. It can attract abundance to you. It can attract followers to you. And so it's one of the things that people are very interested in, that energy, because of that response to it. And so the planet actually creates kind of a magnetism in that process of a solar eclipse. And so what we used to feel and blame on other people, someone made me mad, my husband is leaving me, I'm sick, and so I have anxiety, I could usually pin that to a circumstance or a situation in my life. And that's how it's always been for me. Now, I realize that there are some ailments, maybe depressions, that people can have passed through their family line, but even those probably come from emotive states of the ancestor. But what I'm saying is I quickly realized that the emotions that I were feeling, I couldn't tag them to anything. There was nothing going on in my life that would create anxiety, for example, nothing that was creating a lack of confidence, no reason really for that. And then as I pondered that, the answer that I got from the group that I channel is that the universe is now doing that for you. It's actually stimulating consciousness in a way that you can no longer live with your emotional entrapments. You're going to be viewing them, seeing them, feeling them, and you're going to be a little bit confused. You're going to wonder why. You won't be really able to pin it to anything. Like in the past, usually we could always find something to blame it on. And right now, there is nothing to blame it on. So the fifth dimensional reality, those lower tone emotions, we can't take them with us. We have to resolve them. And so part of the solar eclipse and what's happening on the plane right now is people are moving into this healing and noticing what it is that they have within them. Just because you're not feeling some of the things that you have felt in in the past doesn't mean that they're not healed. The minute that an experience comes up where that emotion gets called forward, you're going to be in it again. And that's what I really realized when I started feeling that. It was almost like the emotions were knocking on my psyche saying, we're in here, just do something, have something happen, and we'll be back out again. So I think it's important for people to realize that consciously, that that's what's really going on, and to love those out of yourself. And by love them out of yourself, I mean, you can't deny them. You can't try to make them go away. I was trying to do that a little bit, and I was trying to pin them on a few things in my life that didn't really make sense. And so then I just realized that I had to just love myself for the way that I felt in my experience that maybe created those emotions. And I don't even need to know exactly when that happened or whether it was in my lineage or a past life. I just have to recognize if I'm feeling something, it's valid, and therefore I'm going to confirm it to my human aspect of myself. And in that confirmation, that's what we call feeling the love. And that's what actually makes you a connective thing to the divine part of you. The minute you emanate love towards yourself about the way that you're feeling in your experience, no matter what it is, that vibration of love will trump whatever you are holding, and that energy will dissipate from the energy center. And so it's not about making a big change. It's not about doing something that you don't really want to do. It's about recognizing how you feel and then allowing yourself to feel it, and the human feeling a connection of love. And therefore you equal yourself to the source, and all the good stuff starts to flow in automatically. You were not meant to come here and suffer. You were meant to come here and experience flow, experience having a desire for something, and know that there was a preference that was created in the divine part of yourself that will automatically flow to you effortlessly. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to condemn or judge or worry. You just have to simply love yourself in the feeling that you sent and know that it has been received, and trust in that, and therefore create the wonderful experience in human form that you really came here to have.
Robin, it sounds like you're channeling already,
Mhm.
but you're connect. So there's a difference. You channel, you close your
Yeah.
eyes and you bring them
Mhm.
in,
Yeah.
but you're going at such a pace and dropping so much knowledge in that it looks like you're already kind of like connected and flowing with
Yeah.
Athena.
So
Is that fair?
what really happens when a person has fully activated Kundalini and the energy actually meets the crown, you become unified with the soul aspect of your self. And that's actually what creates that very natural flow, that very quick pace, that thing that you can do without even thinking about it, where it seems impossible to do otherwise. And so it's just to understand that as my I don't know if the word development is the right word to use, but as my unfolding continued, I started to get more and more light force, or enlightenment is called, light energy coming into my system. So it's not that all of a sudden somebody is this bigger or better being and that they are all knowing and better than anyone else. It means that you recognize that you are the one that either allows or denies things in your experience. And so in that recognition, you can actually open your field and allow that divine flow to come into you, which creates the kind of exchange that we're having. When I move into channeling, the Robin aspect moves aside, and then the group that I'm channeling takes over. The flow is the same, but this part of me that is now able to somewhat do it as Robin is because of the connecting to the divine part of myself. So when people are activating their own Kundalini, whether they became channelers or not, would be to be seen. But they would definitely get this kind of wisdom and knowledge and flow the same thing that you get through channeling, but you would actually be doing it through the divine aspect of yourself.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. So, one thing I wanted to focus on in this conversation with Athena is a topic that I get asked about a lot, which is death, dying, and your loved ones on the other side. There's obviously, like I always joke around, everybody wants to go to heaven, but just not right now, because we're always curious about what is waiting for us on the other side. We're curious about what happened to our loved ones, even our pets. What happened to them on the other side? So, if I can talk to Athena and ask her a handful of questions in regards to that, I think the audience would really get a kick out of it. So I appreciate it.
Let's get her in here. We are delighted today to be a part of your show. As always, we are grateful to be in your presence, and we commend you for all that you are doing for humanity in the rise of consciousness during this very important time. There's going to be many changes. And if we would like, if you would mind, Alex, before we begin, we would like to pose something to you that we would discuss just before we get going on the death and dying subject. Would that be okay?
Yes, it would. Thank you.
Yeah. So what we want to put our input on is that we know that there are a lot of negativities or worries or concerns about where the world is headed. There's much talk about wars. There's talk about the planet and the greenness of it. There's talk about racism and all the things that people are fearful of. But really why that information comes forward is as a recognition to you about what it is that you hold within you. When you receive that type of a report or information and you move to fear, then you know right away that you are actually the one that is in the creation of that type of energy or that thing actually coming into form. We want you to understand that you have this powerful golden opportunity within yourself, in your focus, to actually choose what it is that you want to see in the earth. You can actually hold your focus and your vision sovereignly, individually. You do not need to look in the masses and decide that what is being said is in fact true, and then feel the fear as you feel it. And that is actually letting you know it's the divinity part of you communicating to you through you, that what you are agreeing to right now is not really in alignment with your true desire of what you would like to see in the world. So what we advise humans to do is to get real steady on what it is that you want to see in the world and hold your individual focus in that direction and open up the opportunity for a new timeline to enter where the earth is already created in the lovely view that you would like to see of it. If people continue to look at things as though they are disaster and they all line up and agree to it, you will culminate energy in that direction and actually bring something that you are not wanting to bring. So again, the power of one that is in alignment to their source has so much power over those who are in fear. So it doesn't take as many in alignment to overcome those that are in fear. So you have this opportunity and we would like you to use it.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much. So my first question is, can you describe what your understanding about the state of existence after death is?
We would tell you that when you transition from your body, you don't miss a beat. You will not feel dead. You will not feel as though something is ended. You will have full awareness of where you have been and where you are going, and you will make a complete change or switch into the direction that you are choosing to go, and have no fear, no angst, no worry at all. There's actually no separation, can you believe it, between the universal aspect that you deem as separate, and the earth, yeah, or any other plane of existence. We can't remember the exact numbers, but it has been stated that it's in the millions of the number of planets that could emulate Earth and do, by the way, and support life. They have all the aspects and suns and the capabilities to actually support life. Yeah. So it's to understand that you will be expressing in many planes of existence and that you are not going to be afraid. You are not going to feel changed. You are going to come into this knowingness or this understanding of connectedness that you are temporarily separated from as a human.
What is the most common ways our deceased loved ones try to communicate with us from the other side?
The deceased loved ones will use many avenues. Many are birds. They will use them at knocking on windows or flying by your hair or presenting themselves on your porches or wherever it is that it could get your attention. There are many different ways. Sometimes it is a knowing. Sometimes it is talking in your head, but you will think that it is you talking, but it actually you have this inner sense of knowing or understanding that it is your loved one. The creation of connection or being able to communicate with those that have passed is one that every human is capable of, but everything has to be created through your perception and in your belief of it. So as you believe that you must go to someone else to get that information, and as you believe that when you talk that no one is listening, you are not a connective vehicle or avenue for the loved one to take. Our advice to you would be that you talk to them in the same old way as if they were in the room with you, and that you actually trust and believe that they are hearing that which you are telling them, and that you wait and listen for a response. As you continue this way of communication, pretty soon you will start to hear conversations back and forth, and they will become more and more detailed, more and more perceptible to you, and actually more believable. So this is the route that we would tell you. You have to create in your experience. You cannot ask for anything that you are wanting to receive and expect that it's just going to be dropped on your lap. You must come into alignment with it. You must understand the participant that you are in the life that you are living and the power that you have to actually create every experience that you're wanting to have, you see.
Well, then how can we differentiate between our own thoughts and maybe actual messages from our past loved ones?
Your perception and your belief in what it is that you are asking for. So how can I believe signifies that I don't believe I have the power to create the experience that I'm wanting to create. But what if I decide I do believe and I am going to create the experience that I am wanting to, and therefore whatever comes to me, I'm going to value and trust. I can only bring more of same to myself in that manner.
Is there a purpose or mission that souls continue to pursue after death?
Souls are forever expanding. If you talk to any scientist, and we have said this before, the universe is expanding in every way possible. And so information, knowledge, experience, all of those things are desired by the soul. You would even ask any human, most, we're not saying all, but most are not content in having no expansion or no learning or no growth in their life. They become depressed, they become stagnated and dissatisfied with their experience. So it is an essential element to the growth and expansion of the universe that those that are occupying this plane and all other planes are doing so to learn and to express other avenues that make available to them their true potentiality or the things that they are capable of, you see.
What advice can you offer to someone who is struggling with the loss of a loved one?
Don't try to make it go away. We would tell you that when people are in grief, especially those that are surrounding them, they just want them to feel better so they can feel better. They want them to move from it quickly and get back into their lives so that they do not have to witness the pain that those are suffering in when they are going through the grief or loss of a loved one. You are to allow yourself your feelings and whatever time it takes for you to balance those feelings. Let's use that term. And so it's to be easy with yourself. And it's not that you're going to stay there forever. And if you become frustrated that you think it is going too long, then you talk to yourself. Yeah, you have been sad for a long time. It seems as though this may never pass, doesn't it? So I'm soothing the human in the way that it is choosing to feel in its experience. This will assist the human in releasing the negativity because as it comes into the presence of love, here it is again, it starts to dissipate that energy. You're never going to get the result that you want in your life or anywhere else on the plane by rejecting or going against or opposing something. That doesn't work. And it doesn't feel good as you do it. That's your sign or signal that it's not working for you. The thing that you have to do is surrender. You have to surrender to what is felt. You have to offer compassion and understanding. And in that way, you give yourself an opportunity to have that negative lower vibration met by the love vibration that you are carrying towards it. And the energy just dissipates and falls away.
What can our deceased loved ones see or perceive about our lives?
They can actually perceive everything. Yeah. They are able to view you. They are able to feel you. They are able to sometimes touch you. You may not feel it, but they are doing it. Yeah. So we would tell you that this idea that they are somewhere far away or that they are separated from you in another plane of existence isn't really an accurate one. You are a unified being. And what we mean by that is there is a divinity part of you working alongside of you in the experience that you're in. All of the emotions that you are feeling are coming between you, the divine part of you, and you, the human. So when the human chooses something to feel that is very negative, very sad, very depressing, yeah, the divine part responds back with another more potent negative emotion, and you think it's because you're creating negativity that you get that, but it's really the divine responding back to you that it's moving further away from you in what it has created for you. As you live your life, you are choosing emotions. Each one of those emotions has an intricate charge or a vibration to it. As you choose the emotion in the way that you feel in any given moment, you release that emotion to the universe and it receives it and creates a preference from it. Where have you done anything wrong? Where is there something that should be done over or regretful or that makes you a bad human. You've simply been in a bad situation and you've sent out an emotion in the way that you felt, and the universe has created something grand out of it for you. So now you want to create an opportunity for that to flow to you, but you can't do it as you hold on to the lower tone. So you have to love the human and say, see, you are angry. I understand. Yeah. I would have been angry too that it happened to me. I know anyone living in your shoes, living the life that you lived, they would have chosen anger too. As I console the human and as I come to it in love, the source part of it is coming towards you in love, it dissipates the energy. It cannot be any other way. The higher vibration wins out or rules over the top of anything that's felt negativity, you see.
What role do deceased loved ones play in our personal and spiritual growth?
Well, we would tell you that they are forever watching over you. And when it is accepted by you, an intervention would be made, could be made. Yeah. So what we are referring to is if an accident, let's use that term, was going to be occur, and perhaps the divine part of you communicates with the divine part of the ancestral, yeah, that there could actually be energetically a shift or a change in what it is that you have chosen or thought. Let's use that term. Maybe you didn't think. Maybe it was just going to happen. Yeah. And so there is an opportunity or a communication that can occur, but it would happen at the divine level. It wouldn't be happening necessarily at a human level. There would be an interaction between the divine part of you and the ancestral part of you on whether or not that was something that you wanted to come into fruition or not. Understand that the feelings that you are sending to the divine are creating this other side of you, this expanded version of you, if you will, that is the preferred side. And so as you are experiencing, everything is going out to the divine and you are expanding in positivity because of it. And so as you get that knowing or understanding, you realize this connection between you, the human, and you, the divinity part of yourself. And so as you as a human perhaps are about to experience something, the way that you feel would be felt by the divine part of you immediately in that moment. And then there would be an exchange between lineage or just between you and the divine part of you. But all of it is interactive and all of it is possible.
How can we cultivate a deeper connection with those who have passed on?
Just love them. Yeah. Robin is not, it is not her forte, let's use that term, to necessarily channel those that have passed. There have been incidents in sessions where that has in fact occurred. But she has had to learn that those interactions come through her personally. They don't come through us. Yeah. And so that made her quite uncomfortable because she wasn't used to her consciousness being brought in and then feeling these words that were being given by perhaps someone that had passed and that she would have to then pass those on to the one that she was in session with. Yeah. It was not something that she was totally comfortable with or relaxed about. It requires a much bigger or larger amount of trust in order to allow that to happen. Because once again, just like you brought up, Alex, earlier, how can you know? Now she's put in a position that she must know. She must trust what it is that is coming to her. And so she has moved to that on occasion. But the loved one coming and speaking to the one that is in session or any other calling, it is always decided by them. Yeah. So it is not something that Robin could dictate or make happen. Let's use that term. But when it does happen, it almost always occurs when they are talking fondly or lovingly about someone has passed. If someone inquires to her about a lost loved one, she will say, let's talk about them fondly. Yeah. And then see what happens. Yeah.
If you're enjoying this conversation, I invite you to go deeper down the rabbit hole with me on Next Level Soul TV. It's packed with exclusive content like live special guest Q&As, daily podcasts, commercial-free access to the entire Next Level Soul catalog, early access to episodes before they air, and special meditations you won't find anywhere else. We will be adding new exclusive content every month, plus you can connect with me during my monthly live streams. Just go to nextlevelsoul.com/subscribe and join our soulful community today. I'll see you on the inside. Are there any specific practices or rituals that help facilitate communication with the other side?
If you believe there are, then there are. Yes. Many humans use tarot cards. They use the runes. They use pendulums and the like, and they love them. And they transfer all of that love, all of that belief and perception into those tools. And the divine part of you that loves you is ever so happy to work through those tools for you. So they do work, we would tell you. But you are the one that is actually driving them to work. You are the one that is actually pouring the love into them, the focus that they will work, the perception that this does happen is actually what creates that opportunity. So if there's a way that you can get around doubting by using some type of a tool or mechanism or practice, then by all means use it.
What is the significance of dreams in receiving messages from deceased loved ones?
Well, we would tell you that a lot of times it's the only time that they can actually get the attention of a human is when they lie down for slumber. Many humans are racing minds. They are busy. They are on the internet. They are on their phones. They're going, yeah. And they are not able to perceive any type of interaction or contact that might be coming in because of the other things that they are occupied with, you see. And so when the slumber comes, it is a great opportunity and it is a relaxed state that the human aspect gets into. And we would tell you that there is a lot of interaction, even on the human's part, that they are going through in the evening hours when they are quote unquote asleep. It doesn't mean that you are not experiencing and that you are not expanding and that you are not creating preferences. All of those things are going on, and it is quite possible that you will be contacted or connected with your loved ones during that time.
Now, what is life between lives like? What happens to a soul? What do they do on a daily basis? If you quote unquote, I know there's no time on the other side, but what do they do between lives?
Lives on the other side are not that different than lives on this side. They re-emerge. They have focuses or things that they are involved in, things that they participate in that are satisfying to them, more on a mental plane or aspect. Let's use that term. Yeah. And so there is always learning. There is always expansion. There is always interaction with those that are likened to yourself. And so if you were to look at you in your life, it is somewhat the same. Yeah, you are interacting with those that are like-minded or attracted to you in the way that you feel. And we would tell you that in the divinity part of yourself, there is a great deal of connectiveness going on in the same manner or way. It is why people travel together in what you call soul groups. It's because they have created in ways that liken themselves to each other, and therefore through that attractive quality they experience very satisfying lives together, you see.
Can our loved ones feel our emotions or sense our struggles from the other side?
They can, but not with the pain. There's no judgment, there's no condemning, there's no worry, there's no fear. So they are able to know the emotion or the potency of it. And they understand that emotion creates in the divine aspect of them and the universe. And therefore, the regular feelings, let's say, that a human would have are not felt. In the divinity aspect of yourself, nothing is looked at as good and bad and right and wrong. It's not looked at that way. It is why when a human is feeling their experience, a human will move to condemning and judging because they assume that the emotion that they are feeling is either good or bad. And this is what actually causes them to get stopped up or have things contained in their energy field that are not allowing the natural flow of the divine to reach them. But in the divinity part of you, in this full awareness aspect that you are in, you just simply receive energy or the volume or the vibration of it, let's use that, and in some sense are jumping up and down for the amount of creation that has been received by that which you have let out of yourself. Yeah. So you would agree that rage or anger or even jealousy, use that one, for example, they're very potent emotions. They carry a large charge of energy, but that energy, when received by the divine, has a great effect upon humanity and the universe as a whole, because as it gets lifted and the opposite of it is created, it's a good thing. Yeah. And this is it kind of brings us back to the topic that we're talking about, that all of the suffering that's been going on in the planet and the warring and the worries and the concerns, those are all being received in the divine aspect of the universe and by you, and they're being lifted. And so a new world has already been created, but you must perceive it. you must understand that in order to receive that flow in love of what was created by everything that was suffered through, you have to love what is felt. You can't be disgusted by it. You can't hate what people are feeling. You cannot protest wars and push against with oppositional energy and get the result of the flow of this beautiful love world that has been created. You have to match it, you see.
Now, how do our spiritual beliefs impact our experience of death and the afterlife?
Well, I think if you listen to any of your near-death experiences, you would realize that they're immediately relieved of any type of fear or angst that they had prior to that experience in what was going to happen. Most of them have had very pleasant experiences and actually would concur with what we have said, that they felt this very natural shift or knowing that they were in fact transitioning back into what they really are. And so this is how we would explain it to you. Yeah, unless you want something clear.
No, that's fine. That's fine. There's a lot of people who are, because of the dogma and the program that they've received in their life, afraid of not only death, but of going to hell and of
Yeah,
judgment, specifically hell. Can
yeah,
you dismiss the myth of what hell is,
yeah,
if it exists from your
yeah.
point of view, and all of that? Just kind of dismiss all of that if you can.
Well, and one of the ways we would describe hell is the belief or perception that you don't have any control over your experience. And actually, humans experience that. It's very hellish for them to be upon the plane and feel as though things are happening. They're victimized, that there's no way that they can get the lives that they want to. And so if you are leaving the plane in that energy, you could pass through a brief period of time where you could actually experience something that you would deem as unpleasantness or something that you would prefer not to feel in your experience. But just as you are living in your experience, when you experience something that you do not like the feel of, there's an end to it. It doesn't go on forever. You feel it for a while, and eventually you get to the point or place where you move out of it or you pull yourself out of it. And we would say the transition period is no different. You could experience it for a while, something that perhaps you were fearful of might come up in your transfer. Yeah, but it would not be something that you'd be stuck in or long lasting.
What are the challenges that souls face on the other side, if any?
Well, we would tell you that it might surprise you that sometimes when we're doing sessions, we'll say there's no bad place that you've been and no good place that you're going. That even in this universe that we are talking about, there is some contrast or what you would deem on your plane as contrast. There are beings that are in collection or attraction that perhaps have different goals or ways of wanting to contribute or be. Let's just use that as an example. And then there are those that are, we would say that we are a part of. There are collectives that are wanting to be from love, that are wanting to spread harmony and peace to all planes of existence. But it doesn't mean that there aren't some disputes or actually differing ways of being in the universe as a vast whole.
How can we prepare ourselves for our own eventual transition from this life to the next?
This is a good question you have brought up. It's one Robin ponders a lot. She often talks to herself and reminds herself that her job as a parent is finalized at her death. And what she means by that is that you teach your children how to love and how to live, but you must teach them how to die. Yeah. And many leave the plane in fear, in angst, in upset, in disarray. Yeah. And it is not the way that she wishes to do it. But this opportunity that you have to actually talk to yourself and prepare yourself even and do the study, do the inquiry in order to get the information the way that Robin has, that there really isn't anything to fear and that you can surrender to this process. You don't need to suffer. Some do, but it isn't going to last. And to remember that this is a legacy that you can not only have for yourself, but actually pass on to your children as well.
What misconceptions about death and the afterlife would you like to clarify for us?
Well, misconceptions. What would be a misconception between the afterlife and us? Is that what you are asking?
Yes.
Yeah. We think it is a misconception that there's a good place or a bad place. Yeah. That you are always creating in the way that you feel, in the way that you see the world, in the way that you want to be in the world. You have so much power. You have so much access to divine energy, creative energy, and that you can actually create any experience that you are wanting to for yourself. If you are astute enough to recognize the power that you have and use it. That's what we would say. And so it is a misconception that you are powerless, ever that you are going to encounter something, even what we were talking about in transitioning, where perhaps you might experience what you call hell, that would be your creation. That would be your fear of something that had created that. You have the power within yourself to create whatever experience it is you're wanting to feel. We would tell you that if you listen to some of your near-death experiencers, some of them hear the harps playing or the beautiful colors coming. Not all do, but the ones that are preceding that have foreseen that or created that for themselves.
Are there any such things as ghosts?
There is the opportunity, let's use that, for a holographic, we're trying to use a way to describe it to you, for a holographic reflection to be seen on the earth plane, which would explain what you call a ghost or what looks like a translucent figure or such. Yeah. And so again, these things can come through a human great desire to see someone, or it could come in the fear of seeing someone. But both, again, would be something that is summoned or a creation that is brought to the human by their own focus and will.
So are there souls who have not transitioned and are stuck on the plane, on the earth plane, or decide not to leave a location or an area or even a person because they are kind of attached and don't want to leave?
Yes, this is a possibility. There are those that maybe leave rather abruptly or dramatically and feel as though they have not been able to finalize or finish business that they wanted to, and therefore will hover or stay in the plane. But that won't last forever. It is something that eventually they will come to terms with or an understanding of, and then they will very naturally make that transition.
And what message of hope or comfort can you offer those who are in fear of death and are grieving?
Fear is the result of a loss of control, a feeling of things are happening that I don't like the feel of, and there's nothing that I can do about it. Yeah. So it is to understand that the natural transition, or one leaving the plane and going to the divinity part of themselves, is not to be feared. We wish that there was something concretely that we could say to you that would alleviate that fear. And the unknowingness or the inability to have concrete evidence is something that prevents a human from moving that direction. And as we said, we know when people have near-death experiences, it is somewhat confirmed to them in the perception of what they see, that they in fact do not have anything to worry about. Yeah. But we are telling you, because you have posed the question, that you will not feel any different. Robin actually had an out-of-body experience many years ago. She was lying on a bed, and she was asking a question: will I know myself when I am no longer here? When I'm dying, will I know who I was? Will I still exist? The universe had some fun with her and popped her out of her body, and then a voice in her head said, "Do you still exist?" She saw herself lying on the bed, and she could not move her mouth. She could not move her body, but she had full awareness. She could hear the TV in the other room. She could hear and see things. It felt not much different at all than her being in that body. And so that, we think, depicts the answer, doesn't it? It kind of gives you the understanding that when you leave that body, you will not be shocked by it at all. And that the continuum, what you will see, what you will hear, what you will be able to observe, all of that will remain intact.
Now, I'm going to ask you a few questions that I ask all of my guests. I don't think I've ever posed these questions to you, Athena. So, what is your definition of living a fulfilled life?
Are you asking Athena or Robin?
Athena.
Yeah. Living a fulfilled life to us would be living fearlessly. It would be knowing that you are able to attain anything that you want to, and understanding that the attainment isn't the material item. It's how you want to feel that you are looking for. The universe will receive from you feelings, and it will create from those feelings things that you experiences that will make you feel satisfied by what you have sent to it. And so it's to understand really how you work. It's to never condemn, never judge yourself, never be hard on yourself for an experience that you feel you could have done better, and know that the universe has received you, that what you have sent has culminated in an experience that is going to make you feel the way that you want to feel, and really start to understand how it is that you are creating in your experience and that you are never a victim to it.
How do you define God or source?
We would define God or source as consciousness. It is aware of itself. Many humans are creating unconsciously, which means they are suffering. They are creating from past experiences that were painful. They carry with them lineage experiences that are causing them to feel in ways that they do not understand, but they are still creating. When one becomes awakened or aware of how they are feeling and observe themselves in their feelings, they are inviting that God source of them, hey, take a look at me, yeah, and love me for what it is I am feeling, and therefore assist me in releasing those things so that I may unite myself in my awareness of myself. So I know that was a long way around it, but God is consciousness. God is the projection of consciousness that is in all things.
What is love?
We would say that love is more of an understanding than it is necessarily the word love. Love knows. Love understands. For example, when you are in a partnership, you in the joining in love that you call it, yeah, you start to know what your partner needs, and you give, and you give. And through that giving, you don't feel as though it's a sacrifice, because you know that the way that you give will be returned to you amply because of it. Yeah. And so our best description that we can give you for understanding love is that it's all knowing.
Mm, beautiful. And what is the ultimate purpose of life?
Expansion. And I know that sounds like a word that many have used over and over and over again, but this universe that you are a part of is expanding so incredibly fast and vast. And it is what creates satisfaction. It's what creates opportunity. It creates, yes.
And what does world peace look like to you?
The only way that you will ever experience world peace is to surrender to not peace. And we know that that sounds a little ridiculous, doesn't it? But in essence, you cannot ever abolish something that you are hating or disliking. And so all you can do is have compassion and understanding for those that are experiencing what it is they are experiencing during this difficult time. As that compassion is flooded into the world, this is your contribution to the universe. And the universe returns on compassion by offering compassion to those that are needing it. So our advice to you is to always remember that you create by how you feel. And that it just because you think that the right thing to do is to suffer along those that are suffering, the universe doesn't connect you to everyone else. Everyone's creating individually, sovereignly, by themselves. It's connecting to you in the way that you feel, and that it is returning experiences that will mirror back to you what it is that you perceive and believe and are holding. So you have to decide, what do you want to see in the world? Send out compassion and let the universe return that.
And do you have any parting messages for the audience?
We hope that you all turn your attention to what it is that you want to see in the world, and that you realize that when you feel fear, when you feel the angst, that's between you and you. That's not between what's really going on here. It's between you being fearful and feeling as though you have no control over your experience, and the divinity part of you signaling you, hey, I'm over here receiving everything, creating good things for you out of what you have felt, and you are moving away from me right now in your fear. That's what fear is. It doesn't mean that you have something to be fearful of. It doesn't mean that everything's going to go to hell. That's not what it means. It means that right now, in this moment, what you are choosing to feel in negativity is separating you from yourself. It's not about what's going on in the world. you see.
Thank you again so much for your time. I appreciate you.
You're most welcome. Good day.
And she's back.
I'm back, Alex.
You remember most of that, or you don't?
I don't. I used to in the beginning, I would say the first year or so that I was doing this, I'd have a couple instances where I'd have sessions where maybe something really disturbing happened. Somebody lost children or something that just really would hit me. And what I've found in my experience is, and I expect it, so I think maybe that's part of it. If I don't like something, I make it known and it goes away. So whatever this is, it wants me to keep doing it. It wants me to feel good while I'm doing it. And I had that experience and said, I don't want to carry something like that again for a week. I felt terrible about what happened to this person. And it was after that all memory, in fact, sometimes it's very difficult for me even to remember a session with a person a second time because the memory gets wiped that clear, where I'll actually come before somebody that I've seen before and I'll feel bad because I'll think I should remember this, but it's really a pretty clean slate that happens.
Beautiful. Now, where can people find out more about you and the amazing work you and Athena are doing?
Yeah, thank you. I have a website. It's athenaintruth.com. On my website has everything. We have courses. We have group Kundalini mentorship and activations that go on twice a month. There's meditations on there, different courses. There's Q&A. I have a live membership that people really enjoy, that they get a Zoom link and can come in and ask questions on their own. One of the benefits of that platform is I do a lot of automatic writing. It's not something that I realized at first that I could do. I actually find it to be better than my channeling sometimes. So twice a week, members of Q&A get downloaded transmissions or writings, teachings, those types of things. And hundreds of those have gone out. And I always wonder when they're going to end, but they don't. They just keep coming. So those are some of the things that we have offered presently.
Robin, it has been such a pleasure, an honor talking to you as always, and with Athena. So I appreciate you being on the show and for everything that you're doing to awaken the planet. I truly, truly appreciate you, my dear. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Alex. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Click on one of the videos below to continue your journey, and don't forget to subscribe.